Your Excellency and my dearest brother, President Mokgweetsi, Eric Kiabetswe Masisi, I found out a secret about all your names. Honorable ministers, our respective high commissioners, senior government officials, and members of the media, I'd like to welcome you all to this binational commission. I welcome you, Your Excellency, and your delegation to South Africa. It is indeed a pleasure to co-chair with yourself the summit meeting of the 5th session of the South Africa-Botswana Binational Commission, our two sister countries. Your Excellency, this year marks an important milestone in the relations between our two countries. This year we mark 28 years of diplomatic relations. Our relations are as old as our own democracy. In occasions of this nature, evocation of historic memories is unavoidable, particularly in relation to the role that was played by Botswana alongside other frontline states in the struggle to end colonialism and apartheid in our country. The peace-loving people of Botswana were subjected to the wrath of apartheid South Africa as they did everything they could to support our struggle. The people of Botswana saw our struggle against racist South Africa as their own struggle. And they joined in with us, toiled with us. They were in the trenches with us to unseat a racist government, and we thank you for that. This was aptly stated by Oliver Tambo during his closing remarks at the Arusha conference in December of 1987, when he said, "As we close our conference, the dark clouds of war are gathered over the people of Botswana. Botha is marshalling the terror forces for murder and destruction directed against a people who are exemplary in their devotion to peace," close quotes. We are now in an era engaged in a different struggle, a struggle against poverty, underdevelopment, and growing unemployment. I'm therefore encouraged by the platform created by the Binational Commission, which enables us to reflect on how best we, the two countries, can pursue shared prosperity, as well as regional and continental integration. We are meeting at a time when both our countries are seeking to reset our economies following stagnation caused by COVID-19 pandemic. The Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan that South Africa launched to boost the economy presents opportunities and cooperation and mutual benefit for our two countries. This binational commission therefore affords us an opportunity to further deepen our cooperation in many areas. And we cooperate and have agreements in almost 30 areas, but the cooperation includes economic cooperation, infrastructure development, energy production, mining, defense, health, transport, migration issues, and information and communication technologies. We therefore need to consolidate the work done within the existing areas of cooperation and explore further areas of cooperation. Your Excellency, as members of SADC and members of the African Union, our two countries share common views on issues of peace, stability, economic development, regional and continental integration, as well as global governance. I also continue to enjoy your unwavering support as a fellow Troika member of the SADC organ on politics, defense, and security cooperation, as we jointly seek to find ways to bring peace and stability in our region. The efforts of the government of Botswana in support for current regional peace and security program, in particular the contribution of personnel and attendant capabilities to SADC mission in Mozambique, is highly commendable. We both commit to continue addressing the challenges confronting the development of our youth through programs for alleviating poverty and unemployment, as well as to take concrete steps that are envisioned by Agenda 2063 in realizing the kind of future that we want for our two countries, our peoples, as well as for our continent. It is with pride that I noted the opening of the Kazangula Bridge on 10th May 2021, which served as an important impetus towards the realization of our economic integration agenda. Let me again take this opportunity to congratulate you, Your Excellency, in achieving this milestone which smoothens the movement of goods and people across a number of countries in our region and contributes to enhanced economic integration within the broader rubric of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Let me take this opportunity, Your Excellency, for thanking you for your very warm condolences passed to us following the floods that we have experienced in KwaZulu-Natal. Your kind message and condolences strengthens us to be able to execute the tasks of alleviating the pain that our people are suffering in KZN, with more than 435 people dead. We carry on, and your good wishes and your support helps us to be stronger as we bury our dead and as we try to reconstruct the lives of those who have been badly affected by these floods, who number well over 50,000 already. I look forward, Your Excellency, to the fruitful deliberations this morning, and I want to thank our respective ministers and senior government officials for the dedication and hard work which culminated in this summit meeting. As you and I had our tete-a-tete, we both attested to the fact that our respective delegations have done all the work, the wonderful work, and made this summit a lot easier for us, because the good cooperation that exists between our ministers and our officials is something to say all the good things about. So we thank them, and I thank you, Your Excellency, for coming through to Pretoria for this binational commission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, Mr. Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, the honorable ministers from South Africa and Botswana here present. And I do recognize that I brought a few more than you did, Your Excellency. South Africa is our biggest trading partner. It all makes sense that we take it seriously. And besides, I'm told South African ministers are so competent and powerful they can handle 2 or 3 ministers at a time from another country. Your High Commissioners from South Africa and Botswana, senior government officials, members of the media, very good morning. Your Excellency, I'm delighted to be here this morning on this important occasion, marking, as you yourself acknowledged, the 5th session of the Botswana-South Africa Binational Commission in this beautiful city of Tshwane. Let me start by thanking you most sincerely, my dear brother, for extending an invitation to me for this important meeting. I also wish to take this opportunity to express my profound gratitude for the very warm, hospitable, and generous welcome that you extended to me and my delegation since we arrived. Our relations, Your Excellency, date back to time immemorial. But more recently, they were enhanced by an existential threat known as apartheid, which we both sought to undermine. We in Botswana, Your Excellency, fought for the liberation of the region. Yes, we fought for the liberation of the region, but we did not bear arms. We did not bear arms because we could not bear arms. And this is why we want to claim our place among former liberation movements. We fought for the region without arms, but we fought with everything else that we had, literally. That is why it might explain the first conference of the ANC outside of South Africa was held in Botswana in Lobatse in 1962 under very trying circumstances. The support that we availed to the freedom fighters of South Africa was availed to all other countries in the region that were fighting fights similar to that of South Africa for the liberation of their own countries. To exemplify a few, Mozambique, where the leaders of Mozambique, including President Samora Machel, lodged in Lobatse. Zimbabwe, the leaders of Zimbabwe lodged and lived in Botswana. Namibia, the leaders of Namibia lodged and transversed in Botswana, and of course, South Africa, to name but a few. Tshwane, Your Excellency, to us, always feels like a second home. Not just because of the frequency of our visits here, but mostly because we identify very much with the local Setswana culture and language here. We have many tribes, men and women of our own here. In essence, we are one and the same people, only separated by historical borders, but share identical cultural heritage, family ties, as well as values and principles. Before going any further, Your Excellency, allow me, my dear brother, to once again express my profound and sincere condolences to you, to the government and the people of the Republic of South Africa for the loss of lives and devastating damage to property resulting from the heavy rainfalls in KwaZulu-Natal. As we join you in mourning this heartbreaking and painful loss, I must commend the resilience the people of KwaZulu-Natal have shown as they start to rebuild their lives. I must also commend you and your government for the swift response to the situation. I am confident that KwaZulu-Natal will be built up and will be running in no time, in all its might and its greatness. Allow, if you permit, Your Excellency, for us to take a moment of silence in remembrance of those who have been victimized by this. May the souls rest in peace. The last BNC was held in 2017, which is quite a long time, in our view, in the view of our agreement. It is quite a long time in view of our agreement to meet more often, although we were grappling with the new threat of the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. President, the fundamental importance of our constant engagement through the BNC to advance our bilateral agenda cannot be overemphasized. This is essentially because it is through this platform that we are able to review and deliberate on our commitments, take stock of progress made in the implementation of our previous decisions, and explore other potential areas for cooperation. The BNC also provides strategic direction to our relations with the ultimate objective of fostering good neighborliness and our two nations' socio-economic development. Most importantly, this bilateral mechanism signifies inextricable linkages founded on strong historical, cultural, and family ties. It emanates from a strong bond that has seen us through many challenges, including the liberation struggle. It is therefore fitting that we nurture this special relationship so as to preserve the legacy of our forefathers for the benefit of generations to come. Your Excellency, our meeting comes at a time when the entire world is working tirelessly on economic recovery efforts following the devastating socio-economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. While it is pleasing to note that the SADC countries have done relatively well in adopting strategies to mitigate against the socio-economic impact of the pandemic, there remains a mammoth task of uplifting the livelihoods of our peoples. This includes our concerted efforts to converge towards a common goal of regional integration as a means to boost our collective economic recovery. Your Excellency and dear brother, you will agree with me that our strong resolve to advocate the equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines, together with a massive rolling out of vaccinations, has profusely contributed to the low infection rates in our respective countries. To this end, I must commend your sterling leadership during your chairship of the African Union to aggressively campaign for equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines at a critical time of need. Looking ahead, it is pleasing to note that following the groundbreaking production of COVID-19 vaccines here in your beloved South Africa, my country has also stepped up efforts in the fight against the pandemic and other common diseases such as cancer. In this regard, Botswana has secured the expertise and investment to produce vaccines for sub-Saharan Africa, which has been unfairly sidelined since the rolling out of vaccines. It is my firm belief that exchange of know-how and expertise in this area will benefit not only the African continent, but also the global community at large. Your Excellency, the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us many things, amongst which is the need to graduate some of our engagements to the digital level. I therefore wish to take this opportunity, Your Excellency, to commend our ministers and our senior officials who continue to work hard in progressing our bilateral cooperation since the last session of the BNC, despite the pandemic. There is indeed notable progress made towards implementation of some projects, including the construction of the one-stop border post at Pioneer Gate, or Skilpadeshke, border post. Sorry, I mispronounced that. I thought it was Polish. Skilpad. How do you pronounce it? Oh, there's a K at the end, so I wanted to pronounce it. Sorry. Skilpad. All right. They must just write Skilpad. This commenced in 2020, Your Excellency, and is projected to be completed in the year 2023. The completion of this project will greatly facilitate improved efficiency at the border and also assist in timeless detection of cross-border crime. I also note with satisfaction that we have since concluded a number of agreements and MOUs between our two countries in various areas of cooperation, which is testimony to the scope and strength of our bilateral cooperation. Mr. President, while noting with appreciation progress and milestones achieved thus far, I believe that we can still do more. This will include transforming these frameworks of cooperation into practical solutions and tangible projects that can improve the livelihoods of our peoples. It is also pleasing to note that a number of additional agreements and MOUs are being negotiated. I implore our officials to fast-track conclusion of the ongoing negotiations with a view to further broaden the scope of our cooperation agenda. Your Excellency, one area of concern is surge in incidents of crime between our sisterly countries, particularly in relation to those of cash in transit hastes, armed robberies, and transnational organized crime, including human trafficking, poaching, cybercrime, contraband committed by nationals of our countries, and I dare say, livestock crime. It is therefore imperative for our security and intelligence agencies to work closely together in the efforts towards addressing these social ills that threaten good governance. However, it is encouraging to note that the BNC has covered an array of defense and security matters, which will further augment efforts towards addressing many of these cross-border crimes. Mr. President, let me also take this opportunity to commend you for the pivotal role you continue to play in advancing issues pertinent to the SADC region and indeed the African continent. I particularly wish to commend you for your election as chair of the SADC organ on politics, defense, and security cooperation at the last SADC summit in August 2021. I wish to reassure you, Your Excellency, of my commitment and that of my government to continue to support you during your term as chair of the organ, as the outgoing chair. We worked very well together when I was chair. We continue to work very well together as the outgoing chair. I have no doubt that with your able leadership, you'll continue to steer the region towards prosperity, particularly in addressing pressing issues of peace and security under the ambit of the SADC organ. I wish Your Excellency to conclude once again by thanking you for the very warm, brotherly welcome and generous hospitality accorded to me, to my delegation, since our arrival in this beautiful city of Pretoria. I look forward very much to our constructive deliberations, tangible outcomes of this 5th session of our Binational Commission. And I must confess and confirm that the officials and ministers have done a sterling job, and that's why we spent all that time in the tete-a-tete doing what only we can do. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear brother, President Masisi.